Hey everybody, this is Paul from This Way to the Aquarium. Hope you're doing great today. In this video, I'm finally getting around to moving the Julidochromis fry from the tank over here where the parents are. So there's a number of fry in there, at least 30 to 40. I need to start moving them out into the breeding tank just so there's no crowding, less crowding. So I started that process. Basically, I'm going to try 3 methods to see which one works best. Got an empty water bottle I'm going to use kind of as a trap of sorts, put some food in there. Another method I'm going to use is just your plain old fish nets to see how that works. And the third method is to see if I can spook some of the fish into a cave over there, see if any of the fish go into that cave. It's a removable cave. Scoop it out, it still has water in it, and see if I have any fish inside that cave. So one of the most common ways to remove fish from a tank is basically reduce the water level, get rid of all your decorations out there. It's going to make that job all that much easier. Now in this case, since this is a fish with 2 breeding parents and a bunch of fry, removing every decoration out of there is going to upset the balance. It might throw the parents off. I know they're continually laying eggs and getting those eggs to hatch, so I really don't want to disrupt that process. So I'm trying my best to get the fry out without disturbing the parents too much and draining the water and taking all the decorations out. Obviously that's going to have the opposite effect. So it was interesting to see the experiments in terms of what worked and what didn't work. Obviously, there's still some room for improvement in these experiments, and I will try some different methods in the future. But for now, let's take a look at what worked and what didn't work. Checking the temperatures on each tank. This one's about 76.6 with the instant read. And for the tank that they're going into, about 76.8. About 76.8. So they're pretty much almost spot on, give or take 0.02 degrees. So they won't need to be acclimated because the temperature change is pretty much the same. I'm going to be doing the first method here to try and catch some fish. There's a cave down there in the corner of the tank. Going to try and spook the fry into the cave with this tool right here, basically a landscaping tool. Try and spook them into the cave over there, and then just scoop the cave out, and just take the cave out of the tank and pour it into another bucket, and then from there going to put them into the other tank over there, the grow out tank. So I'll try that method, see how many fish I get. I'm not expecting great results out of this method, but since this is part of an experiment, I'm going to try and see how it works. So the trap them in the cave method and bring them out was a dud. I caught exactly 0 fish, and I tried twice too. It looked like some of the fish went into the cave. At least I thought they did, but when I took the cave out and then poured it into this bucket over here, as you can see, I just got some debris and nothing else. On to the second method. So method 2 involves here a plastic bottle. This is a short water bottle, cleaned up and prepared for this tank. So basically with this, I put in a little algae wafer here at the bottom. Going to float it in there, add some water in there. The theory being the fry can get in there. The opening is probably a little too small for the adults, but I'll leave it in there 15-20 minutes, see how many fry we can catch. The nice thing with this method, if it is successful, is you can acclimate them in this bottle directly. As long as there's a little bit of air in there, you could float it at the top. The temperature will equalize over time, and then assuming you don't need to water acclimate them, then they can go straight into the tank from this bottle. But again, remains to be seen. We need to check out the theory and then go from there. So I got the bottle floated just enough, put enough water in there, left a little bit of air, so at least the opening is below the water for the most part. Small fry should be able to swim in there. They're already kind of being active. I think they know there's some food somewhere, they just don't know where it is. So depending on how many we can catch in this, if at all, if any at all, it might be interesting. Using a bigger bottle might also make a difference too. But this was just put in here, gonna come back in about 15-20 minutes, and see if there's any fish in the bottle. So unfortunately, after 15 minutes with the bottle floating at the top, no fry were in the bottle. So what I did instead is fully submerged the bottle, took out all the air, now it's at the bottom. So I can see the fry swimming around there. They're curious. They know something's in there. So I'm going to leave it in there, come back and see if I get anything. See if I get any fry in the bottle after it's sat at the bottom of the tank. Unfortunately, it looks like the bottle was a dud. Hot bottle just with the food. No fry at all. So that definitely is not going to work. I even thought by angling the bottle down a little closer to the floor area over there might give them more opportunity to go in, but they mostly ignored it. I hope you've been enjoying this video. If you have been enjoying it, please hit that like button so others can find it too. So I tried the big net and I managed to catch a tiny little fry, which those I'm fine with leaving. And there is a slightly larger one there. Obviously they get a little skittish when I stick this large net, and the net is just, compared to the size of the tank, it's very large, so it's very hard to maneuver. So time to try a couple smaller nets. So let's try baiting the tank first. Add some food that the fry like. See if I can catch some that way. So they're aware of the food, starting to come out to get it, but still a little skittish from all the activity in the tank. Unfortunately, no luck. They're very skittish, they move around pretty well, and the decorations do obstruct me trying to net them all out. So the net method, I was only able to catch about 5. There's 4 right there in the corner swimming around, and there is a 5th fish right there exploring their new tank. Obviously that net method also leaves a little to be desired. I'm going to go on to another method. So the netting method was not very successful when it came to trying to net those fish while the lights were on. So something interesting did happen yesterday, in that I came down after a couple hours after all the lights have been off, the sun is set, and I noticed quite a few of the fish kind of sticking to the back of the tank over there. So in my process of doing that, so I grabbed the net and then I grabbed that sand decorating tool and used that. So I was able to capture quite a few more. So with just the net alone and using that tool when the lights were all on, it was daylight, I was able to catch 4 or 5 fry at most. Now, after the lights had been off for a couple hours, I came in, I was able to get at least 9, 10 more than the initial 5. So I've got a bunch more in the tank over here, and so I'm going to plan on doing that again tonight. Once they all go to sleep over here, once the lights are off for a while, then I'm going to come in and see how many I can scoop out in a single go. So in this tank, we can see there's a bunch kind of sitting on the back wall over there. So that's how I found them yesterday in the other tank. And I managed to scoop a bunch up, so you can see a bunch down here. So there's a little guy there. Number on the wall over there. The back tank wall. A couple hanging around the filter over there. Little fry over there. So I ended up getting quite a few more than I initially did. So, same thing. Lights are already off in this tank. It's still daylight out. So I'm going to wait another couple hours here. And by that time I'll come in at night and see if I can grab a bunch more of these guys out. Switch them to the grow-out tank over there. Hopefully you can see there's a bunch of fry just hanging around on the back of the wall over there. So I'm going to try and scoop them up from there while they're still kind of dazed from being in the dark. As we can see right here, there's still some fry. They're a little more savvy at hiding. so I wasn't able to get all of them. So I might leave them in for now because there's fewer, it's harder to catch all of them, especially at night, which I'm trying not to take out the decorations because then I'm going to disturb the parents there as well too. So after about 3-4 nights of fishing, so to speak, fry fishing, catching these fry and putting them in this tank over here, gotten about 20-35 fry. Grabbing them up at night is the best method, at least for these Julidochromis fish. For other types of fish fry, the strategy may be different. These guys have a tendency to stick to the walls in the tank, so it makes it easier to scoop them up when they're asleep. Scoop them up, move them in the new tank. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.